Welcome back to New Realities. I'm Alan Steinfeld, and I have some very exciting guests again today. Of course, my good friend Paul Andrews and Tom Chenault. I think I'm going to let Paul introduce Tom formally because he's familiar with his work, but I'm really excited Tom is here. So go ahead, Paul.
Alan, thank you for having us both. I really love New Realities Radio, and I know you reach a lot of people, and you are the key to meaningful networking in New York City, and I appreciate your being part of our team. Wow,
that's a great introduction. Thanks, Paul.
So let me say, I can't say enough good things about Tom. I mean, he is a networker that all of us look up to. He's one of the leading luminaries of the gigantic Youngevity Incorporated, and he's also the co-founder of Contact Mapping. I'm sorry, Tom. Contact Mapping, which is a wonderful app that helps you keep track of all of your contacts. Tom has had a very interesting past and came to network marketing in a very interesting way. And he comes at it from a very human and conscious place, and very loving place, I might add. So I'm really thrilled to have him with you, Alan, to be with both of you this morning on the program.
Yeah, thanks. So Tom, the reason I'm interested in your story is a couple of reasons. When Paul told me about you, you have an incredible story and process of transformation, and you're interested in connecting the world. These are two main subjects that I focus on New Realities. You want to give us a little, well, tell us about that transformation, if you don't mind.
How you got started, Tom, how you went from where you were to where you are now.
What I love about New Realities is its mind, body, and spirit. And who Tom Chenault is finally mind, body, and spirit. And it took a train wreck and a half in 1988 for me to realize what I'd been chasing in my life was not mind, body, and spirit, it was money. And I had climbed the ladder of success as a stockbroker. I was at the top of the ladder. I went to New York City many, many times and talked to people about big deals. And I was a miserable drunk. And in 1988, I got 2 distorting the pieces and 2 DUIs in 1 month. And even though my income was almost $1 million a year that year, I was spiritually, emotionally broke. And I didn't know it. And I got into Alcoholics Anonymous at that point and started this radical self-inquiry that I needed to do, which is exactly what your radio show is all about, to figure out my best me. And it has taken me 31 years. I've been sober for 31 years. I'll be almost 32 here pretty quick. And inside of that, I finally figured out that Tom Chenault was an okay guy. And I figured out what was important. And I joined the Youngevity way back at that time for the money. I was broke. I was a stockbroker. I had to reinvent myself. I saw Youngevity as a chance to do just that. And I joined it for the money and the health that I've got. Here I am, 31 years later. I've got all this money, but that's not my most prized possession. It is my spiritual life and my health that I got literally from Youngevity that I wanted to talk to you guys about today.
Well, that's interesting. You got your spiritual life, your health from a company. That's the, talk about that. I mean, I understand that it's a incredible supplement company, but what's the spiritual part? And then we'll talk about the other things.
When you get up every morning, and that's a great question, Alan, when you get up every morning, and instead of saying you're going to work, you're going to change the world, and you've got a mission and a legacy that is so much bigger than you are. And what ended up happening to me was I met Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. You've had him on the show a few times. And when I met him, everything changed for me because I realized this guy, his message transcended everything I'd ever thought meant anything. And he was doing 300 lectures a year. At that point, he's still doing that, and he's 80 years old. And he'll do it for 5 people or 5,000 because his mission is to change the nutrition of the world. And the reason I say that's spiritual is because as a daily AA guy, and I go to AA every day of my life, I went today. As a daily AA guy, my mission in life has to be congruent with my job. Otherwise, I'm living in conflict and probably going to drink again. And so the spiritual part of that conversation came for me when I finally realized I was home. I could absolutely partner with Dr. Wallach, spread his message of health all over the world with him, and make a big living at it, which I wanted to do and which I have.
But what is your mission? If you can put that in a little concise or not, a big expanded view, I'm curious.
A couple of things on that front. Well, number one is everybody's eyes pop open at 2 o'clock in the morning worrying about one of three things: money, time, or health. And I realize that, I know it, my job through this contactmapping.com conversation Paul alluded to at the very beginning, lets me find out which one of those three people are really, really stuck with. And I'm able to fill that hole in their life with something from Youngevity a lot of the time. And some of the time I can't fill it because they've got alcohol or drug problems. And I truly feel like God gave me a doctorate in drunk, and I can help those people too. So every morning I get up, and this is the honest to God truth. I surrender everything I do every day to the will of God. I never say no. I know God's got this. And that's congruent with you guys, what you talk about on your show. And the second thing I do is every human being I meet, and Paul Andrews will attest to this, I make sure I leave them feeling better about their lives than when they got there, whether I sold them anything, convinced them of anything or not. So my philosophy is love like crazy, then love more. Fire your brain, hire your heart. Focus on being a better human being, and God's going to take care of things, and God has.
Wow. Imagine it.
Fire your brain and hire your heart. Alan, come on.
No, I love that, because imagine if everyone on the planet had their mission in living day to day. What an incredible place we'd be in if that was right, Paul. I mean, isn't that what we're?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
no, Tom is an example to all of us.
That's why I do this program. It's made, I find people like Tom and you, Paul, and Jock Wallach and many others who I feel can help people, and they help me. That's why I talk to people like you, because I'm doing it because I want an expanded vision. So, I liked what you said. It's health, it is wealth, and it's what was the third thing?
Time.
I'm now 69 years old, and time is becoming critically more valuable to me. So that's very cute. Even though Dr. Wallach believes we can live to be 120, I certainly am valuing every minute. In fact, this morning, I don't know if you guys have read The Untethered Soul, and you just brought that up, but I have this piece of paper here. How much love could you give the ones you love, knowing it would be the last time you'd get to be with them? You should contemplate this. And that's it. What if one of us three was going to be gone tomorrow? Would I be different on this show than I was not knowing that? And my job on this planet is to be with you with such love and such presence that I'm believing it might be the last time we ever see each other.
Wow. Well, it's the first time I'm seeing you, but I hope it's not the last. I just want to say, what your attitude now and the feeling and the joy and the exuberance probably wasn't the same guy that was drinking, I mean, can you talk about that shift, how you went from, I guess, drowning, whatever those problems were, to this amazing human being that is here for the service of the planet?
Until 1988, I had never been to a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, but I had an opinion on them. It's called Contempt Prior to Investigation. And I thought when I walked in the door of the AA meeting, there were going to be a bunch of winos laying on the floor. And that's what I thought. And I walked in, and I belonged to a country club. I was a rich stockbroker, and I belonged to this country club, and I knew that I could always drink in the men's grill of the country club and not get caught, because all the men had this code of honor that no one would betray it. So I went to the AA meeting knowing that I was going to also be able to drink in the men's grill if I decided this wasn't for me. And I
Can I ask you why you went to that AA meeting to begin with?
Yeah, the courts. It was 2 DUIs and 2 disturbing the pieces. So I go in, and the first person I saw was the president of the country club. And he goes, "What are you doing here?" And I go, I don't know. The courts invited me. He goes, "We've been waiting for you for a very long time." But my men's grill cover was broken. And then I sat down in the room, and I'll never forget this, Alan. I looked around the room, and there were like 30, 40 people in there. And I go, "She's ugly. She's fat. She's this. He's that." I said something in my mind rotten about 100% of the people in the room, because I hated myself so bad. And so I talked early in the conversation about how I live my life today, and it's rigorous self-inquiry, which means going to those meetings every day, looking inside as to why I really drank, and then really, really sharing that with people, and realizing all I want to be is I want to be around people that I love, that I can trust, that I feel safe with, where I feel like I belong. And that's what I found in AA that I couldn't find in churches. I've subsequently gone back to church, but I believe that God was the person that got me in all that trouble at the first place. So I wasn't real fond of God when I walked in AA. And I literally transformed myself because I figured out finally who I was. And I didn't have to be Alan Steinfeld. I didn't have to be Paul Andrews. I got to be the best possible Tom Chenault. And there was great comfort there for me.
But why, if you don't mind me asking a little personal question, I'm just curious, why did you drink, if you care to share? I mean, what goes on inside?
Lots of people have huge egos in there. They have very low self-esteem. And so I would literally be anybody to make you like me, Alan. And the more alcohol I poured on that, the bigger my ego got. It kind of drowned out that self-esteem. And I've done 31 years of trying to figure out what the heck went wrong. And it was exactly that. It was, I didn't like myself very well. And the outside world is a successful stockbroker, and I sold airplanes prior to that. I was in the rest. I've always been successful. So I'd look at people and they'd go, "Oh, you're so great. You're so this." And I was dying inside. And the only way I could make those lies feel okay was if I poured alcohol on them.
Wow. And so it's interesting. You're saying all the money in the world, whatever, or maybe whatever, wasn't enough. There's something deeper. I mean, money, of course, we need money to survive, but we need what you're saying in a way even more, this appreciation for self.
I'll never forget this. I lived in this place called Columbine Country Club, and I would go out in my beautiful backyard where there was a golf course, and I'm sitting there pondering what the heck has happened, because everything's going away. I have no money. They're repossessing the cars. And I realized I'd climbed the ladder of success and gotten to the very top of that ladder. I had money, I had mistresses. I was a despicable human being, but I climbed to the top of the ladder, Alan. But when I realized is I climbed to the top of the ladder, but it was leaned against the wrong wall. It was supposed to be leaned against the wall over there. And the terrible thing, I couldn't jump. I had to go all the way back down and go back up again.
Wow. So you climbed, you had something in you that made you successful. And maybe you thought that would make you feel okay. I don't know.
Yeah, charisma. Lots of people have great charisma. In fact, we've got people like that around us all the time right now. Used the wrong way, great charisma is evil. I could get literally anything I wanted, money and all the stuff that goes along with it, but I was a horrible person. And I literally had to reinvent myself and find the true Tom. And
I appreciate you being so honest and kind of just vulnerable in this conversation. I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
What's that, Paul?
And articulate.
Yeah, definitely articulate and still charismatic. I have to say that.
Very charismatic.
because, I'm always interested, what is that first thing? You said you didn't like yourself and you go to the AA meetings, and what is that first chink in the armor that came off for you? What was that, moment where you said, oh my God, I don't have to be this way. I don't have to drink, whatever.
I would go into churches. I went to daily mass, and I would be in the Carmelite monastery. On one side were all the women praying for the sins of the world. Back there were all the Carmelite nuns praying for the sinners. And on the left side of the room was Tom Chenault alone, fervently praying, God, why am I a drunk? I've got all this money, everything. Why can't I quit drinking? And once I realized I was truly an alcoholic and I couldn't stop, that's when I decided that I was going to do something about it. And this is important because at church, I would walk into the church and I would feel like I was the only sinner and everybody was looking at me because they, in religion, people go to church and they love religion because they don't want to go to hell. Alcoholics have been to hell and they don't want to go back. So the difference between, pardon me, between me and them was I finally walked into AA. No leaders, just a bunch of derelicts and misfits like me trying to stay sober just today. And I'll never forget, I went to the first meeting. So I sat down and I looked at my watch and it was the top of the hour, and about 5 hours later, I looked at my watch again and it had only gone 15 minutes. And I said, what is wrong? How long is this meeting? They said an hour. So the hour finally went by. I go, what do I do now? And they go, just don't drink till tomorrow. I go, you're not gonna give me a pill or anything? No, they go, just don't drink. And if you get scared, call us and we'll help you. And that's all AA is a bunch of people sharing that rigorous self-inquiry, sharing, getting into their tribe. And now my favorite thing of my day, there's 24 hours in a day. I have unbelievable things happen in the other 23. My favorite hour of the day is my AA meeting every day.
Wow. No, that's a great, that's great. So I'm just thinking about all that. So you are feeling better now being who you are than any time you've ever drank. I think
that's— Oh my God. By 5,000 miles. The day that I love waking up instead of coming to, I love actually being sick instead of hungover. Everything about it. And going to those AA meetings and you see those people stumble in the door just like I did, just beat to a pulp, just reminds me I don't want to go back to that neighborhood again. It truly kicked my ass. I'm not going back. So that's it.
That's a good point, I think, for people who are drinking or taking drugs or any kind of escape, they're thinking they're going to feel better by drinking this alcohol or doing these drugs. And I think your great message is you feel so much better not doing that and discovering your mission, that why would you want anything to get in the way of that, right?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Tom,
good enough for me to want to drink right now.
Right.
Hot Tom, how hard was it for you to go from for example, the stockbroker world into network marketing? That must have required a tremendous mental adjustment to do that.
It was horrific. And here's why.
Tell us about that.
Well, I was everybody's Amway dream. So I'd go to houses, and this was prior to 1988. I'd go out to anywhere and they'd say, come on over, and we would have circles for dessert. I was everybody's prospect. I have an education. I had multi-level marketers chasing me like crazy. I used to literally believe Tom Chenault, if I had a choice between being a multi-level marketer or a Martian, I would have asked you what the weather was like on Mars. And after I sobered up, the guy that you have a sponsor in AA, this is an unbelievable question, Paul, by the way. And this guy named Ray Hayworth, he goes, you got to stop throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I go, what the heck does that mean? He goes, you got to stop doing what got you drunk in the first place. I go, okay, well, great, I will. So I listened to him. I went home and I quit my brokerage job. He didn't mean to quit my job. he meant to stop doing all the behavior that was getting me drunk. But I misunderstood and I quit my job. And the next thing you know, Paul, no one would hire me. Nobody. And I just couldn't believe it. And so I had the gift of desperation in my life when I quit drinking. And I don't pray for people to stop drinking. I pray for them to get the gift of desperation to figure it out for themselves. So now I'm out there trying to figure out another brokerage job. Nobody wants any part of me. 2 DUIs, 2 disturbing the peace, probably going to drink again, bigger than a house. I couldn't get a job as a waiter. And I finally wanted to get a job on the railroad car because they said, we're desperate for a waiter on the railroad. And I called them up and I said, I'll take the job. I went down for the interview and they told me I was too wide for the aisles. And I just wanted to blow my brains out. And I came home and about 3 days later, and I told you guys, I surrender everything to God. I've been doing that for a long time. And I open up a newspaper and out falls a piece of paper. And I'm sure God made that piece of paper fall out. It was from, and it said, unlimited income opportunity, no credit check, no background check. And I go, what? So I call the guy up and I go, what is it? He goes, well, I go, come on, man, what is it? Is it true? He goes, yes, it's true. I said, what is it? He goes, multi-level marketing. I said, I'm in. I mean, then he said, I'll mail you some information. I said, no, you will not. He said, why is that? I said, I'm coming to your house. I don't have time to wait for the mail. I got to get to work. My life is crumbling around me and I need to do it. So I flew out of my house. I went over to the guy's house. I walked in, it smelled like cats. I held my breath for about an hour, got signed up, got out of there, and became that network marketer that you hate. I was chasing people around. I wouldn't leave their house. I was like the Kirby vacuum guy. I'm not leaving unless you buy from me. And people were buying, but they were quitting as fast as I enrolled them. And a guy named Bill Shepard grabbed me and said, Tom, you got great skills, but you are an idiot and you are absolutely never going to be successful. You need to be more interested than interesting. Stop thinking about yourself. Start thinking about the person across the table. And he gave me a lecture exactly like Ray Hayworth, the guy I mentioned earlier, had given me about Alcoholics Anonymous. And all of a sudden I realized that personal development, Alcoholics Anonymous, and multi-level marketing could be merged into one powerful conversation called What's in It for Them. And if I taught enough people to be successful, I was going to be successful myself. And that entire conversation resides right this second in an ebook, a free ebook called The Coffee Shop Interview. I wrote a book that's just about to be an Amazon bestseller, I think.
That's what I hear, Tom. You're rocketing up the chart.
Yeah. Here's the deal. contactmapping.com/CSI. You can get that interview. And it's a magic trick because you stop looking like, in multi-level marketing, they train you to grab people, anybody with a heartbeat, and make them a prospect, which is insanity. Let's look at people as human beings. Let's figure out, let's ask some questions, figure out what's going on in their life, and then figure out a way to plug that hole with something either I cannot sell or somewhere I can send them to get those answers they want. And I'm going to be rewarded on earth and hopefully up above.
So it's not just a matter of network marketing in this place. I mean, I think you found something. I mean, you could be selling vacuum cleaners, encyclopedias, if there were any anymore, but you found something that was good for other people and good for yourself. So it's not like I think you don't want to just say network marketing because anyone could do anything, but you found something. Talk about the value of what you found for yourself. I'm curious about that.
Number one, I found the ability in network marketing to truly believe what was coming out of my mouth. I can look anybody in the eye. I can interview them. I can see if there's something that I've got that fills that hole in their life. And with integrity, I can make a suggestion a couple of days later about either talking to me or going to a website and grabbing a tool. You've got that website called vitalhealthnews.com.
Right.
And what people, with anybody with anything going on health-wise goes to that website. And they look at that website And there's a, you don't even, yeah, and there's a free health evaluation even available to anybody that hits your website, where they can figure out what's going on with them and possibly get some answers out of Youngevity. But literally everybody I meet, I can serve, and I love that.
Well, I'm just putting up the Vital Health News. Thanks for mentioning that. This is it. Now, this is the company, I'm associated with the company that you, that changed your life, that turned your life around, right? And what was it though about this particular company that you found so valuable for you and other people? What do they have?
Smart question. They've got over 2,000 products, because let's face it, in the course of my day, I run into a lot of human beings, and a lot of them don't want to take vitamins and minerals. They might want to just drink coffee. They might want to buy skincare. They might want to buy hair care. They might need a business loan. Youngevity is really, really unique in its own world, because they've got so many different verticals. And inside of those verticals, instead of throwing something down somebody's throat, you've got the ability to listen to them and then send them to the aisle in Youngevity, the aisle in Vital Health News, where they can find what they want versus what you want to sell them. And there's a major difference there. And Dr. Wallach, I mean, his 90 for life, his message of minerals and vitamins is something that's been around for so long. He's the grandfather of colloidal nutrition. He's probably the premier naturopath on the planet. And I'm partnered with him. And that's what's beautiful about what's going on, is he's my partner. I get to send people to his research, which is absolutely 50 years of peer-reviewed research. One of his books is in the Smithsonian. This guy is the real deal, so I never have to worry about the product breaking. So the only thing that can really break down is my pitch in the form of the relatedness with the person across the table. So if I can just be authentic and I can be caring, there's something in Youngevity that literally everybody's going to want to buy. And I've proven it, because I have a gigantic organization now of over 1 million people that have signed up and enrolled in this company over the 20 years I've been with them, which is a lot of people.
Wow.
So,
but go ahead,
Tom,
Paul.
yeah. So Tom, why do you think Doc Wallach's tape, That Doctors Don't Lie, has been so phenomenally successful? I think it's the #1 spoken tape in the world. I mean, I grant you that he's a wonderful researcher, but why do you think that particular tape has been so successful?
Because his message is congruent with God, you know, with the message of maybe we are just animals that are missing vitamins and minerals. And if we just supplement those minerals back into our bodies, we don't have to go to the doctor and have them put a Band-Aid on a serious problem like the pharmaceuticals are trying to make. They try to make us think they're healing us. And those pills don't do anything. They just cover up the pain. And anybody that's any kind of thinker whatsoever is going to listen to Dead Doctors Don't Lie. They're going to listen to Dr. Wallach, and they're going to say, this makes some sense. And how is it that in this world, where the United States of America spends more money on healthcare than any other country, we've got more people in trouble on this virus than anywhere? What is it about that? Is it possible that we have forgotten about nutrition in our effort to try to take the shortcut and just cover up the pain? And people are smart enough to listen to that tape and say, I'm going to take my health into my own hands, because these doctors are practicing on me. And I have so many dear friends in New York City right now that are sequestered there. And it breaks, you know, one of them's an actor, I mean, just waiters, and they're paralyzed in their city. And it breaks my heart. And, you know, I can't tell them that this is going to heal them. I can't tell them anything like that, but I can tell them I feel a heck of a lot better at age 69 that I ever felt in my life. And that's my story on that.
But Tom, can you just, I mean, you feel better because you stopped drinking, you found your mission, you're helping people, but also in your personal transformation, you said you were very overweight. What was it in the product that changed? What did you take? What was that process of healing your body basically with some of these supplements and other things you may have done?
I'm going to talk about my favorite recommendation list right now for what I'm taking every day. And when my friends call up and say, Tom, how can you be this alive at age 69? You were dead. You were a dead man walking. And I say, I've been taking this literally every day all this time. And I take that ultimate tangy tangerine, which is Dr. Wallach's. It's just a drink, and it's got all those vitamins and minerals right there. So you're not dealing with 40 bottles. You've got the 68 minerals that your body needs to run. It's got the vitamins. It's got everything. I take the OsteoFX because I'm a very active man. I stay moving all the time. It's the most important part. I take those essential fatty acids because you've got to have that to make the entire, all Dr. Wallach did was basically put together a package that puts all the nutrition that you think you're getting from your organic food, which you aren't, back into your body. And all of a sudden you just start to feel better. So I take this stuff called microbiome because it's incredible. It's a hyperimmune egg, and it's got massive amounts of research behind that. I take something called Beta 500 because I'm at this age where so many of my friends are getting cancer. And what I want to do is ward any conversation off around that with nutrition that I can. I take a lot of zinc. I take a lot of vitamin C. I take a vitamin D3, and I take essential oils. I mean, I am a walking, talking vitamin store, and it's very easy for you to be thinking right now, well, that's going to cost a lot of money. And I will tell you, it ain't cheap. But I will tell you, either is getting really sick. And if you don't have any money, buy one bottle of vitamins and start drinking it. That's going to get you started. And as you start drinking it and starting to feel better, you're going to add on to it. And you're going to start saying, okay, latte or nutrition? Latte makes me feel terrible. Nutrition makes me feel better. And what Dr. Wallach is now saying to people all the time, which I think is profound, you can't supplement a bad diet. And instead of listening to your brain about that ice cream and the food that you're putting in your body, instead of that, listen to your stomach. How is this stuff making you feel? And if that sugar and all that garbage, that carbonated stuff and all that gluten is making you feel great, keep eating it. But I don't believe you. I believe it's exactly the opposite. I believe if you would listen to your stomach instead of your taste buds in your brain, you're going to get a whole lot better in a hurry.
So let me ask,
Can
Paul,
I-
go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead, Paul. Yeah.
But Tom, can I ask you, what do you say to my friends who are overweight? Some of them dramatically overweight. What do you say to them? I mean, where do they start? How do they address that?
Paul, I'm an alcoholic. And if you talk to any alcoholic, they are going to tell you, well, here's the whole cliche. Normal people take their problems straight to God, which I'm going to agree with. I've just never met a normal person. So as a result, that we all go somewhere else, whether it's work, whether it's this, whether it's that. And the biggest, I mean, you start thinking about what people are addicted to out there, Paul. It is sugar and it is gluten. And they are screaming at people's brains because they don't have the vitamins and minerals in their body. So there's triggers in that. They absolutely design that stuff to addict you and keep you eating it. And you start drinking vitamins and minerals, and all of a sudden you notice that those food cravings are gone. And instead of wanting ice cream, you're wanting something that's going to actually make your body feel better. So those people, and what we say about those people all the time is they've got to go start exercising, and they're as paralyzed as an alcoholic. They don't know how to stop. But if they can just start taking some of the stuff, the cravings are going to go down. And all of a sudden they're going to say, you know what, maybe that sugar was whipping me. Maybe, just maybe that gluten was whipping me. Maybe this is my first step out of the jungle.
So Paul, let me ask you, if people call this number now, 888-275-7755, they can find out about the products Tom is talking about, and also kind of have a personal sort of consultation with people, right?
Yeah, in my Ed McMahon sort of way, I'm going to say that there's some very, very good people on the end of that line, and mostly some charming ladies who are, have a significant knowledge about health issues, who are more than happy to talk to them.
Right. Well, I mean, I appreciate all that you're doing. Ross, got anything else, Paul? What were you going to say? Yeah.
Yeah. May I, if I may, I want to ask Tom a couple more questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
So Tom, as you embarked on this career of network marketing, what were some of the tools that came out of it, or that you saw develop for you, that had meaning, that helped you, you know, be successful in it?
Here's what I believe, Paul. I believe that everybody wants to they want to feel safe. They want to feel like they can trust somebody, and that they are loved. And so what I did in network marketing was I started using that coffee shop interview to actually ask people what they wanted out of their life. And then I documented that. And you talked about that contact mapping a few minutes ago.
I did.
But if you go to contactmapping.com, you start learning how to remember things about people, because everything's a soundbite and nobody has the information. You see me jotting down on this little piece of paper. Almost everybody's got little pieces of paper like this all over their house that are absolutely useless when you get back out on the road and you run into that person and you can't remember a thing about them. So we designed this app called Contact Mapping. And the reason we designed it, so you learn how to remember people. I've got 18,000 people in my phone, and I've got 18,000 stories of people's lives. And the reason is, I know what I love most about you, Paul Andrews, is what you remember about me. And I promise it's vice versa that way. Because I'll tell you, what do I think most about I fake it all the time, but my favorite subject is myself. And if I can get my agenda out and into the agenda of people across the table, you know, I interview people with my eyes all the time. And I'm looking at these people and go, you need to lose some weight. You need to buy these vitamins. And I look right past the fact that their house is being repossessed and they really need to build a business. They don't care about their weight right now. They know how to lose weight. But I interview people within an inch of their life. And that's the tool that I use. Now, Youngevity, that company that you alluded to, has a free app called the Youngevity Go-To app that literally does all the work for you in the getting the information to people. You go to the app, you put in somebody's email address, you can send them the Dr. Wallach tape, you can send them something specific to their health problem, the whole shot. But my job, Tom Chenault's job, what sets me apart is the fact that I interview 2 people a day. I document the heck out of them, and I follow them up better than anybody on the planet, because that's all any of us really want, is to have people remember us.
No, that's beautiful. I mean, I appreciate your contact mapping, because you're an example of someone, you know, you achieved, you know, a certain success, you've gotten to know yourself, you're happy, and now you're giving back. You found a way to actually keep expanding that. And Paul, did you have another question about that? Because
well, no, I just wanted to say, Alan, you know, I mean, Tom's right. You know, I mean, in our business, yours and mine, we meet a lot of people. You know, I mean, you've got 65,000 people on your mailing list. I don't have anywhere near that many. And I'm just thinking to myself, wouldn't contact mapping be a great thing for you to have in your arsenal to make you a more powerful, more communicative, more empathic person? I don't know. Maybe Tom has some thoughts on that.
No, I'm just going to show the website here, Tom. What's this video? Should I play this video, Intro to Contact Mapping?
That would be, if you could play that video, it would be brilliant.
I'm going to play it right now. Let me see if
you guys watch this. You don't have to put anything in.
So
Watch this. This is going to make you crazy.
Strong and growing. I've talked to thousands of people in the relationship business like you, and what we hear over and over again is it's too hard.
Okay, go ahead. Wait, sorry. What happened?
I just can't seem to keep up with it. Why hasn't somebody made it easy for me?
Don't even worry about it. Get it out of there. I can talk.
Simple, easy to use app you've been waiting for. It makes sure you never forget a person's name. Always remember important details about everyone you meet, and it will send you a notification when it's time for you to follow up. And you don't have to start from scratch. It syncs with your client address book. Contact mapping is more than just a great app with all the features you need. It's a whole new system that will help you connect and stay connected to your most valuable asset. Get started today with a free 30-day trial of Contact Mapping. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to turn your prospects into lifetime customers and friends. Thanks.
I want that. Okay, I need that.
Just hold it for 1 second. I'm changing your life. So all this thing does, I swear, this is crazy. So right now, you and I have met. I don't have your phone number yet. I don't even need it because I can find you. I'm going to add you. It's so simple.
I'll put in
Because
the
I take a picture of you, bam, because it told me, I put your name in, it told me to take a picture. So I just took the picture because our brain is so powerful. It works all these different ways. So then I took the picture, and I don't want your prom picture. I want to see your picture like you are right now so I can remember you. Now a microphone popped up, and all of a sudden we are cooking with gas because I speak in everything about our relationship. So everything we talk about, I put in there. So it completely dictates everything. I hit save. Then it says, when am I going to follow up with Alan? Because you don't follow up well either. And I am unbelievably good at follow up. And so every day I wake up and I've got like 20 or 30 people that I have to touch with some love. And I roll them out about 3-4 months. Because they're all coming back to you. All 65,000 people are coming back to you with an idea. And if you're constantly in their subconscious, Alan, everything changes. So then all of a sudden I'm going, oh my God, I'm going out to visit my beautiful friend, Natasha. She lives in New York City. She's a philanthropist. I'm going to look that guy. I was on that guy's radio show in New York City. What the hell was his name? All I have to put in my phone is radio, Paul Andrews, and in New York City, and bingo, bango, bongo, it triangulates and your picture popped up.
Wait, does that sync with my iPhone address book?
Yes, you're done.
That's what I need because
I know you do.
When did I meet that person? I meet hundreds of people every month.
Thousands, Alan. Thousands. Let's be honest.
I'm a compulsive networker. And sometimes I meet someone and then I have to remember when I met them, but then I don't remember their names. I'm not great with names.
I tell you my favorite magic trick.
Okay.
For you. Because you have the same, I spoke it for 20,000, in multi-level marketing, 80% of the multi-level marketers are women, right? Okay, so 80%. So I spoke in front of 20,000 people in Las Vegas. So just with the math, 16,000 of them are women. I got done speaking and I felt like Justin Bieber for 15 minutes. And all these people are asking me to take pictures and say hi to them, right? Mm-hmm. I accidentally did this and it was the most brilliant thing I've ever done in my life. I love you. Thank you for this picture. Please send it to me on Facebook. So they took it and they sent me a Facebook message. I had them and me. I saved that in my contact mapping app with both of us together, which was beautiful for them. And the second thing that happened is I had their name and their Facebook profile to download any public data that I wanted on any one of them. So all of a sudden, all of that was done for me, Alan. And it was, instead of trying to remember anything, you know as well as I do, I wish I had my box. 500 business cards. You have no idea.
I have them right here. I have a whole bag. I want to show you.
Can't remember anybody. So wait a second. what's even more beautiful is with all your databases and all your systems, you got it everywhere but where you need it.
Right. In my phone.
This is right here.
My
So
phone.
I will onboard you. So your listeners, I'm going to do this publicly.
Okay.
Yeah, you go to contactmapping.com/VIP, and they're going to kill me /VIP, and
Yeah.
all of you are going to get onboarded for free, and you'll have a human being walk you through this, and I am promising you, you will love me forever. It is absolutely, it all it did was solve my life, and now instead of training people to be multi-level marketers, instead of training people to be sober human beings, I'm just training people to be better human beings. My entire legacy now is transforming the world into having better relationships, hopefully taking vitamins and minerals, hopefully making more money, hopefully having more time, hopefully being more spiritually centered, hopefully being more sober. But I am telling you, I finally have the opening conversation for that, which is contact mapping.
Right. I think that was something I was thinking about just last night. I think instead of people's goal of getting more of this and that, the goal of incarnation, the incarnational experience is how to be more human and how to help each other be better human beings, whatever that means. Healthier, wealthier, smart, all those things, but also more feeling. So,
Yeah.
and more connected. You know, this is the crisis we're in now. We are suddenly connected in a way we never thought was possible.
Which is what we talked about at the top, mind, body, and spirit, which is so important. And I love the pandemic because it brought me to my center. It brought me home instead of going out hither, thither, and yon, chasing something that was right under my nose. I found out through this pandemic that what I need is human connection. And I found out through this pandemic that the human connection I thought I had was nowhere near as rich and deep and vibrant as it could be and is now, because I've spent this time diving deep into relatives I didn't even know I had. In fact, I just found out, and somebody proved it to me, that I am a direct descendant of William Shakespeare.
There you go.
Thank you.
I believe it, Tom. You silver-tongued devil. I totally believe it.
You know, I have to say, I'm having a really good time myself. I'm getting to be with myself more. I like my own company. I'm cooking good food. I don't have to eat out. I'm getting work done because there's not another gathering, a party, or even conference I'm flying around the country to, which I love, Paul, which I do love.
Contact in the desert, for example.
Right, but I'm happy to have this time for myself. So thank you for saying that, because I didn't say that publicly, how much I really love this time of introspection and connection.
Yeah, it's been complete. It hasn't been, you know, and there's days I wake up and I'm sad. And I can actually source the sadness instead of ignore the sadness and work through it. I look at what I'm sad about and I can feel it. And it's taken me back to my early days of personal development and getting to the basis and peeling that onion back, where before I had to ignore it and hope I felt better. Today, my daughter had a conversation with me a couple of days ago about things that happened to her when I was a single dad. Good things, not bad, but you know, stuff that impacted her life that she's been going deep on, that she was finally able to talk to at age 31.
Wow.
All my relationships are better, Alan, and I love that.
Well, you know what you're saying, you got sad about something in your life. And I think feeling that sometimes alcohol wants to cover up that feeling.
Yeah.
And then it snowballs into whatever happened to you for how many years. But I'm happy to hear you're touching that place in yourself that starts to activate our humanity. Thank you for acknowledging your own process, Tom. I appreciate what you're doing and the commitment.
I love Paul Andrews. I love Dr. Joel Wallach, and now I love you. And now I got a new friend. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, I feel like you're my new best friend. That's right. No, because
You're both good friends to have, believe me.
I know, but Tom, I really see how happy it makes you to help other people. I genuinely see that. That's what your life is about. So I'm thanking you on behalf of everyone that you have met and will meet. And
And I leap out of bed in the morning. And I'm going to tell you, if you want to take a crack at leaping out of bed in the morning, go to vitalhealthnews.com.
oh, thank you. Yes.
Go
Yeah.
get the contact mapping app. Make sure you contact me around the app if you've got any questions or you're having any trouble getting to where I am. And
Yeah.
I will help you. I mean, I can tell you that I don't do this part-time. I don't do this full-time. I do it all the time because it makes me joyous, and you would make me joyous if you let me help you. And that's all it boils down to, you guys, is living life like that.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm just looking for that content, Vital Health News show up here, but you're absolutely right. It makes you happy because why, Tom? I mean, what is it that makes you happy about other people's transformation in a way? I mean,
I got up this morning, I went to my AA meeting, and the topic in the AA meeting was building gratitude lists. And I said, the gratitude list is static. It's sitting on your desk. And what I've gotten out of this pandemic is that I used to build gratitudes all the time, gratitude lists up for the birds and for the air and for all the jazz. But today, after all this 50, 60 days of this pandemic, my gratitude is for other human beings. And my joy is in other human beings and serving them. So the list I built today, and I've already done it, I can prove it to you. I contacted 20 or 30 people that needed a phone call or a text and just basically told them I loved them today. And not only did that make them feel a lot better, it made me feel a lot better. And Paul, you know this, I have you, I mean, I touch base with you and it's just I love you, Paul, and you look at that going, Tom's drinking again. But no, it's not true. It's just, that's what I do.
I don't think that at all, Tom. I think that you are walking the body, mind, spirit path, and I'm grateful.
Yeah, that's what it is.
well, can I ask you one? And thank you for promoting Vital Health News, which I'll show again. But I'm just curious. One more question: what does the future? What's on your horizon? What do you want to still conquer, in a sense? I mean, what drives you? I'm just curious where you're going.
Great question. So, as a result of having that million people underneath me, the economics are pretty much handled. I have an unbelievable marriage of over 20 years with a woman that I jump out of bed to see every day. So all the material is pretty much done. The spiritual needs a lot more work because I'm growing every day. And the people that I can help, I realize for a fact, and I've done so much research into it, that everybody's trained so much on the skills of how to get the sale, the skills of how to do that. And it's backwards. And I finally figured out that if I can go out in the world and teach people rigorous self-inquiry, just like I learned in personal development, just like I learned in AA, just like I learned in multi-level marketing, if I go teach them that rigorous self-inquiry, where they really get to know their best self and become their best self, they learn to share with people, they're going to go out there and they're going to build a tribe of like-minded wizards, building whatever it is they want to build to the best of their ability to make them the best person that they can be. If I can do that every day, it's a job that I can do for the rest of my life and die with a smile on my face. And that's what pops me out of bed every day.
And you're doing it.
I know.
And I think you make such a good point. So many times people want to sell you something, but you're saying, how can I help this person first? Whatever it takes.
Let me talk about that for a second. I might be able to even prove it. Let me look real quick. Yeah. Okay. So on this credit card right here,
Yeah.
You can see at
Okay.
the bottom of it. I'm going to get the focus
Really
right.
see it. Can just tell me what's there. I'm not really.
It says Masters of Enrollment. Mo and Associates is my company. Mo, Masters of Enrollment. That's not Mo, Curly, and Larry, Alan. It's Masters of Enrollment, because when somebody sells you something, like all the Barkers that are out there selling like crazy, it's like buying a pair of shoes. You put the shoes on, you pay the bill, and you never see them again. My job is to enroll people in the possibility of having absolutely the most joyous, greatest life ever. So my whole life is Masters of Enrollment. My life is transformation, not transaction. And I do that every day. And not everybody buys it. They don't believe, they think it's actually, a lot of people think it's happy horse. You know why? Because nobody loves like crazy. Nobody then loves more. But I do. And if you look at the contactmapping.com website, you will see coffee cups and t-shirts that say love like crazy, then love more. And what I'm going to do, just so you guys have those, I'm going to send you guys both a t-shirt, and I'm going to send you both a coffee cup that says fire your brain, hire your heart, that you can wear around every day of your life, because I'm telling you, that's what makes Tom Chenault tick.
Right. No, that I love it too. Thank you, Paul, for introducing me to Tom, because
Isn't he great?
you're so passionate, and you're so alive in that sense. You know, I don't think you're just like this on camera. I think you're probably like this. I don't know how people keep up with you. You have a lot of energy.
So here's the deal about that. If you want what I've got, you got to do what I do. So that means you got to take your vitamins and minerals. You got to go to Vital Health News, and you got to get started on it no matter what. That's point A. What do you got to do? You got to stop looking at people like they're a soundbite. You got to be interested, not interesting. You got to go to contactmapping.com and learn that coffee shop interview in that free ebook. Those are your marching orders. If you want what I've got, you got it. And what you're going to become is your best self. You're not going to become, I spent my whole life trying to be you two guys. Not anymore. I just want to be my best me. And if you don't like it, that's okay. You're just not part of my tribe.
I like it, Tom. I do have to ask you though, because I see you've mastered something. And I think when people master something, there's always a greater vision that comes to them. And I think you're at the point where even the next level is going to unfold for you in whatever way. What do you suspect that might be? I know you're very happy helping people, and that's great. You're so satisfied, but I'm curious if there's anything.
That's an unbelievable question. And it's not a long answer, but it's not a short one.
Okay.
There's a book out there called The Surrender Experiment, written by a guy named Michael Singer, who also wrote The Untethered Soul. And Michael Singer was working on his PhD in business and went into the forest and started meditating every day. And what came out of that was he decided that he was never going to say no, that the entire world is this little slice called what Tom Chenault knows, this little slice what Tom Chenault knows he doesn't know, and then the rest of that pie, which is God's world. But we sit here and manipulate those two slices of pie and miss all the richness and greatness of surrender. So my whole life, what my goal is, and I have read Autobiography of a Yogi, which is a book, you know that. So
I love that book, yes.
I know it. I have. So I don't look like I'm an unbelievable reader, but my consciousness quest is unstoppable. But I found the roadmap with surrender and letting God drive it, whether, I will promise you one thing right now. After I listened to 2 or 3 of your shows, Alan, to get ready for this show, I said, this guy's about 5,000 miles above me. So all of a sudden, that little guy on my shoulder started scaring the crud out of me, going, he's going to eat you alive on this show, Tom. You don't want to go there. He's smarter. He's better. He's this'er and he's that.
Oh, stop.
Swear to God, true story. And I walked in here and I sat in this chair 5 minutes early. You had to notice that. I wanted to size you. I wanted to get related to you. And I wanted to get into the position of surrender where God's got it. This is going to be what it's going to be no matter what, because it's going to be great because I'm not manipulating the universe. So what my mission in life is, fact, not manipulating the universe.
Well, I've learned a lot from you because you've been so open and vulnerable, and not a lot of people want to talk about their past and how awful they may have been or what they've done, but you present that as a stepping stone to your true self, and I can see the spirit that comes through you now. So
better. I spent so long rewriting history to make myself the hero. And that was so stupid because everybody knew I was full of bull. I wasn't I just was a lion sack. And all of a sudden I finally got to that point where I was okay with the truth. And God, I'm so much happier just being this hot mess instead of hip, slick, and cool.
yeah, no, I think you're about to go, in my sense, to a whole other level. I'm feeling in yourself and a deeper sense of your even bigger mission. Yeah, you're connecting people, you're making them healthier, you're making them wealthier, and there's an expansion I feel that's happening with you that it's even bigger than all that. That's just what I get about who you are and where you're going.
One of the brightest guys I know, and I swear he's writing a book on the brain. He's Robert Kiyosaki's best friend. Came down to my office one day about 5 years ago. And this made me so mad because I thought I knew myself quite well. And he mind mapped me. And when he got done with that, he goes, "You are so full of bulla." He said, there is so much more coming from you if you would stop blocking God out. His name's J.W. Wilson. We can call him on the phone. He'll tell you that. He was like you. He was like flabbergasted that I had like put a lid on what's possible. And I've done some work since then, Alan, to try to take that lid off. And there's probably still a couple of screws of the jar to go, but you're 100% right. And I'm not scared of the ride. I'm in, and I love you. And I want to be with you on this journey.
Well, you are, and I think we should do this again, right, Paul? Let's keep doing a couple of rounds.
Tom's great.
All yours.
And he's got a phenomenal book that's going to come out big time on Amazon, and I'm very excited about that. You just give us 30 seconds on the book, Tom.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
It's really the story of my life about being interested instead of interesting, and instead of just completely walking in like a barking chihuahua and throwing your agenda at other people, you take the time to find out their life. You find out about their time, their money, their health. And instead of pitching them on something sitting at the table, because the minute you pull it out of your briefcase, it looks like an agenda. We've all done that before. You walk into any conversation with no phone, no nothing, just you and that human being. Get related, walk out the door, open up the app, speak in the coffee shop interview that you just did, and then come back to that person because it set the follow-up up a couple of days later, and sell them what they said they wanted to buy. Don't bring up what they said they didn't want to buy, and you're never going to face any rejection again. It's going to be poetry in motion. And that's not only the book, but it's also what we train in contactmapping.com. I wouldn't necessarily call it a book. I'm not that deep.
It is a book, Tom. It is.
Yeah, I know it is, but it's, for me,
it's a manual.
Yeah, it's me. I mean, how can a dead drunk alcoholic laying in the street? In 1988, my dad, everything had been repossessed. My father-in-law comes over. He looks at me with this big L and he goes, "Oh, Tom, you have ruined your life. Go cash in those savings bonds and buy a car." The savings bond he gave me for the kids. And I looked him in the eye and I said, "Lou, I'd do it, but I already did it." And he looked at me like, "You're the most pathetic guy I've ever met." So he comes over the next day and he's got this 1981 Honda. He taught all his kids to drive in. It's smells like vomit. It's the most despicable car in the world. He goes, just take this car, Tom. And I go, thank you, Lou. It was like a Rolls Royce. I was so happy. And the next day, I swear to you, this is true, Alan. He came to the house and he said, Tom, I talked to my accountant and I can't give you that car. And I went, oh no. He says, I got to charge you $1. And what went through Tom Chenault's brain that day was, where am I going to get $1? And I have been able to come from there to here, and everybody can. You just got to have the desperation. Where
well, Tom, let me just tell everybody where here is here. You are the most successful person in the mammoth Youngevity organization. And you, along with your beautiful wife, Denise, are two of the best networkers and speakers I think I've ever heard. And that's saying a lot, because as Alan will tell you, I know a lot of speakers, and I mean more than most people will ever dream of in their lifetime. So I want to acknowledge you in that way.
Super
and
nice.
I want to thank you for spending this time with both Alan and I this morning. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. One last question I have is, and simple, what do people want? What makes people happy? I mean, you've been talking about it, but can you just tell me that?
For me,
Yeah.
what makes me happy is knowing somebody loves me, trusts me, and makes them feel safe. And it goes both directions. That's it. And these vitamins and minerals at Vital Health News, you have to believe me. I'm not telling you I'm telling you that for you, not for me. I'm telling you that for you. I believe in this nutrition because it changed my life. I believe in contact mapping because it changed my life, not because of I don't have a job. I'm done. This is what I do. This is who I am. And if you want what I've got, you just do what I do. And that's the same thing I tell everybody every day. And if you want to build a little business with Paul and obviously with Alan, we've got a training program that, you know, you go to college, you spend 50 grand, and they teach you to go get a job. In network marketing, we pay you to learn. That's the cool thing about it. We pay you to learn. So you step in the game, you do what we do, and we pay you to learn. It's the most exciting thing in the world. I have to say this now because you just opened up another can of worms. 2 months ago, so many of you were in New York City and all over the world, and you had it made in the shade. You had a job, it was stable, nothing could ever rip it asunder. You didn't need a plan B because plan A was never going away. Well, guess what? Plan A just went away and you didn't have a plan B. And you're standing there going, gosh, I wish I would have had five. I just wish I would have listened to that guy 5 years ago. And I'll tell you what, that tree that you should have planted 5 years ago should have been planted 5 years ago. You'd be okay today. But the next best day to plant that tree is today. Because if you think this is the last black swan pandemic, whatever, that's going to shake everything up, you are delusional. So go plant that tree today at vitalhealthnews.com.
Yeah, call that number, ask people, see how you can become part of this, because as Tom's saying, and Paul knows, it's not just about products, selling products, it's about being happier, living happier, coming into a sense of self and taking care of our bodies. So thank you, Tom. I see that you're near your name, it says September 29th, 1988. Is that the day you became sober?
So what you do every morning at the AA meeting, and I didn't realize I changed that, that's so funny, is what you do is you put your name, your sobriety date, and where you live. Because AA is transformed with the pandemic just like everything else, because you don't go to the AA meeting at the rooms anymore, you do it online. So I'm dealing with people I've got unbelievable friends going to AA with me every day right there in New York City. They're one of the famous AA clubs in New York City. It's called Perry Street, which is where Philip Seymour Hoffman, all those guys went. And it's this wonderful place. And now all of us are online. So I'm going to meetings and meeting all those guys. And it's magic. I'm so in love with my life today on every front.
what's the first thing you say to someone who's been drinking for years? I'm just curious, not to do too much on that, but I'm just really curious. What do you say?
Well, okay, so let's talk about that, because you just said something that's important. The two things that I don't know if you've ever known anybody that drinks too much, but if you do, no matter what you could say to them, they're not going to hear you. They're going to keep drinking.
Right.
Until somebody like me with a doctorate in drunk can walk up to them and say, it doesn't have to go like that anymore. And I'll hug them and I'll say, you're not bad. You're just sick. And I'll love them. And maybe they can hear me, that maybe they can't. God's got such a sense of humor. It's unbelievable. He put me in the two toughest professions in the world, AA and multi-level marketing. Because go try to jam a guy into multi-level marketing. He's lost his job. He's lost his house. Everything's jacked up. His marriage is gone. His kids hate him. His wife hates him. And you look at him and say, would you like to do multi-level marketing? And he hits you with a pan. It's the same thing. It's just unbelievable. I'm in the two toughest businesses in the world. Until they get that gift of desperation, that they can figure it out for themselves, and they are seeking you, you're probably out of luck, because all the evidence in the world isn't going to convince them. So I don't try to convince. I just look for people looking for me.
Great. No, and you find them. And I just want to thank you for all your time, effort, and energy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I enjoy talking to people about their transformation and helping them in whatever way I can. So, and I know Paul about that. So, okay. So let's do this again, Tom.
Anytime you want, man. You just tell me when. I have no life. I'm right here.
I know. I'll talk to Paul about that. But how can people find you through your contact?
Yeah, just go to contactmapping.com and send me a note, especially around alcohol and drugs. I mean, and I truly believe, and I'm sorry about this. I truly believe I made a deal with God. And I think the deal with God was, Tom, you help drunks and alcoholics and drug addicts and homeless people. I'll help you make a living. And God's been so good to me. I don't think I've held up my end of the deal as nearly as well as God did. And anytime anybody wants help with any of that, please reach out to me. I'm your guy, Tom at contactmapping.com.
Great. And of course, you can reach me and some of the products that Tom was talking about here. Vital Health News. You can call 888-275-7755. I'm Alan Steinfeld with Paul Andrews and my new best friend, Tom Chenault. And thank you, Tom. I'm totally surprised. You're energizing just to listen to and hear, and you really draw on this wealth of personal experiences, and it's not all pretty, but somehow you make it seem great. You make it seem like the process of transformation is waiting for all of us. So
Brene Brown says this. Brene Brown, who's unbelievable on vulnerability, says every human being that you meet has a story that will take you to your knees if you'll just take the time to listen to it. And my job is to get to my knees spiritually and in other people's stories, literally all day, every day. And thank you so much for letting me be on.
Thank you. I'm really happy that we did this program. Thank you, everyone on the chat. This is Alan Steinfeld for New Realities. And if you want to reach me, you can just go to newrealities.com, youtube.com/newrealities. Subscribe. There's an interview about UFOs coming up at 3 p.m. with Grant Cameron, Nick Pope, and Jan Harzan and the Hertog. So look for that here. Look for Vital Health News and give me some feedback. Thank you, everyone. The chat, it's been great. And we are going to do it again with Tom sometime. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, you guys.